My friends, I I feel responsible for your well-being to an extent, and that's why I want to warn you ahead of time that if you're an American, you should stop watching the stream, because what we're about to watch together is a carcinogen. It causes cancer, and if you're American, there's a very decent likelihood right now that the medical infrastructure just does not exist to provide you the necessary care. Has anyone seen this video on their Twitter feed? I don't think I've seen anything that isn't this video on my Twitter feed. Wow, this thing really, really blew up. So let's go through it, huh? Let's go through it. When wokes and racists actually agree on everything. Let's get into the music.
When me and Brad first met, I didn't think we'd get along, but turns out we kind of agree on everything. Your racial identity is the most important thing. Everything should be looked at through the lens of race.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
All right. We're getting right into it. Right into it from the beginning. So the premise of this video is that you have two strapping young men, woke and racist, you see. And the premise of this video is that these two people, these two groups, are essentially the same here. I think the subtitles tend to appear at the bottom, so I'll throw myself up here. Yep. Beautiful.
Your racial identity is the most important thing. Everything should be looked at through the lens of race.
Now, I don't think I have ever met a so-called, by woke person, I assume we just mean a progressive. Woke doesn't mean anything. I assume we just mean a progressive person. I have never met a progressive person who made the argument everything should be looked through the lens of race, and the race is the most important part. I have never met any progressive person who has ever made that claim. Frankly, I don't even know if I've met a racist person who has made that claim myself. They're usually not that upfront about it, even if they believe it.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke. We both have a lot of opinions about people of color, even though we barely know any.
I say colored people, but as long as we're classifying them, we both think minorities are a...
So that's a really nice little dig right there. People of color and colored people are the same thing, as long as we're both classifying them. So the implication with that language there is that you're inherently agreeing with racists if you have terms which classify non-white people. Does that mean if you use the word black, you agree with racists? Essentially the only non-racist position from this perspective then would be the kind of race-blind enlightened centrism that Stephen Colbert was making fun of a decade ago. You know, so a little funny juxtaposition there.
United group who think the same and act the same.
And vote the same. You don't want to lose your black card. Sorry, I don't know. I just think we should roll back
discrimination laws so we can hire based on race again. Jinx, now
So this one, specifically, is in reference to... So at first, I actually tweeted about this because I didn't get it at first. This one right here. Roll back discrimination laws so we can hire based on race again. I know you're thinking, you're like, wait, hold on. When have progressives ever wanted to roll back discrimination laws? Well, this is in reference specifically to California. California is currently putting a ballot measure that'll be voted on come November as to whether or not they want to roll back California-specific anti-discrimination laws because those anti-discrimination laws are preventing California from adhering to the same national standards of affirmative action that the rest of the states adhere to. So essentially what it is every state in this country abides by federal protections with regards to certain things like discrimination based on race, and then certain states have additional state-level protections. But California's state-level protections are preventing affirmative action from taking place, which is interesting because for years I've heard all in all about how California was a hotbed of affirmative action and white guilt. I guess that wasn't true because it's been interpreted as being, oppositional to that. And anyway, so they're looking on rolling back these provisions to so they can engage in affirmative action. In my personal opinion, not a big fan of that approach. I'm not going to lie. However, the idea that rolling back discrimination laws as done by a racist would mean the same thing as Californians rolling them back so they can implement affirmative action is ridiculous. It's like a picture, like you have like a Nazi and like an Antifa, and they're both saying, I want to change society. Oh, dude, they're the same. Like, if you abstract everything to an absurd degree, you'll be able to find parallels between groups, that have virtually nothing to do with one another.
You owe me a Coke. Hey, tell them what you told me yesterday.
White actors should only do voices for white cartoon
I've
characters.
been saying that for years. Stick to your own.
Stick to your own means that white people should stick around white people and black people should stick around black people, not that you should voice act cartoon characters of your same race. They have these two things have literally nothing to do with one another. These aren't even remotely related. They just, I guess, kind of sound related, like sort of, if you say it out loud in a certain way, kind of or abstract about the language you're using.
Us white people, we have so much privilege.
I agree. It is a privilege to be white.
Privilege doesn't mean you're better. It means there's an advantage, but it doesn't. That's not this. This is what I mean. The attempts at drawing parallels here are semantic. Do you know what I mean when I say that? They aren't actually meaningfully relating two ideas. What they're doing is they're pointing out that there's a linguistic similarity at certain points. Now, if you want to criticize that linguistic similarity, you can. If somebody wants to have an argument with me about whether or not the term white privilege enhances white supremacy or whatever, that's an argument I can have. It'd be a dumb argument, but I could have it. Because white supremacists fucking hate the term white privilege. They despise that term. They hate it. But that's not the argument they're trying to do here. They're trying to suggest the ideas are the same.
Ask him about interracial dating.
All I said is that black men who date white women have internalized racism, and white men that date ethnic women are fetishizing them.
I have literally never met any progressive person who has ever said this in my entire life. We're really reaching right now. All black people who date non-black people hate themselves, and all white people who date non-white people hate them. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Hey, listen. Hey, whoa. Credit where credit is due. On the internet, there are enough sweaty white men to fill a fucking California county, who will do nothing but talk about how they cannot wait to slide their meat into a demure, submissive Asian woman, a beautiful Oriental temptress who has been uncorrupted by the misandry of modern Western feminism. Okay, there are a lot of creepy ass Asian oriented fucking yellow fever dipshits online, and when people make the argument that you're fetishizing quote unquote ethnic people by dating them as a white person, that argument usually only comes up if you're actually fetishizing them. I have never seen like an interracial couple where they're just chill and normal, and it's like a white guy and like an Asian girl or whatever, and people dogpile them for that. And when the individuals who do that dogpiling occasionally, if it ever does happen, are usually racists of a different race. Those people exist too. They may be lacking the same institutional power, but those people, usually when I see people who are, yelling about like the like white man and like the Asian woman, actually, wait, now that I think about it, usually when I see the white man, the Asian woman getting shit talked online, it's from Asian men who are calling all Asian women whores who only want white cock. Now that I think about it, that's by far, the most antagonism I see directed against the white male, non-white female couple type. And Okay, yeah. Anyway, this is not like a progressive thing at all, but good try, I guess.
Guys against interracial dating now. Like, am I being pranked? Did Boomer put you up to this?
Ugh, you know that taco place is white owned?
White people should be making white foods, like Kraft macaroni and cheese, no seasoning, not even salt.
That's the closest thing we've got to a good joke in this skit.
Like he's a mind reader. I mean, I've been pushing for segregation.
Wait. When has a progressive person ever fucking said, that taco truck is white owned? I have never heard that in my life. Wait. I have never ever heard that in my life.
Forever, and my man does cheese, no seasoning, not even salt. It's like he's a mind reader. I mean, I've been pushing for segregation forever, and my man does what?
I created an improv comedy show exclusively for ethnic people.
What does that mean? I created an improv comedy group exclusively for ethnic. Wait, what does that mean? Wait, first of all, I don't know what that means. But second of all, the video is suggesting that wanting an ethno-state is the same as having an organization that just has one ethnic group. That's very dude, huh? You don't like the fact that I want to build a white ethno-state? Didn't you literally just talk about how the NAACP is cool? Hypocrisy much? Like, yes. Again, it's the process of abstracting arguments so like severely that it's impossible to get at the underlying ideas.
Guy segregates comedy on my birthday.
White people need to stop wearing dreadlocks and they need to stop appropriating black people's music.
Shaved heads and country music, the way God intended.
I'm gonna give a little bit credit where credit's due. I think this criticism might actually be a little bit valid. The way some people misinterpret the meaning of cultural appropriation does kind of make it so that some progressives unironically are saying like white people shouldn't like do this or shouldn't. I will in this respect, I will accept the call out. Remember folks, cultural appropriation is a morally neutral thing. It's not inherently bad or good. Usually when it's bad, it's also because it is racist. You know, it's not like it's not like just like, remember that one like chick who went to her prom and she had like a Chinese dress on or something? And people like got mad. That was really weird to me. I think the Chinese dress was super cool. I think it was pretty. It was shiny, you know, but people got really mad. That doesn't hurt anyone. In fact, from what I heard, a lot of Chinese people were really happy about that dress being worn because it was a positive showcase of their culture, you know? Yeah, it's like honoring their culture. You know what I mean? When I go to my 10th my 10-year anniversary high school reunion and I show up in the traditional garb of a samurai, I will be I know I'll be respected for what I'm doing because I'll be paying homage to a culture that I show great respect to. The difference is exploiting culture versus honoring it. Yeah, for sure. But as an individual, most of the time, we're not really exploiting culture. Now, if you're like a white, I will say this, like you can, if you're in a position of power, this can get a little bit more dicey. Like, you know who's that one white girl who acts black? Is it Ariana Grande? She's like white, but her like skin, she's like really tan now. And is it Iggy? Whoa, Vicky? I don't know any of these fucking people. I know that there's a trend of making black culture more digestible to white audiences by pushing it through white people. You know? Like, you'll have all the hip and hopping and rap, and that'll happen. That's great. And black people will do it. But then, like, a white person will do it, but they'll, like, be kind of tan, and then they'll get... And you get into, like, weird colorism stuff, too. But for the most part, overwhelmingly, I would say that as individuals without systemic power, I think you should be able to wear whatever the fuck you want and chill. I mean, maybe you'll get maybe you'll be made fun of a little bit, like if people don't expect to see a white guy wearing the traditional garb of a samurai and two katanas, one with a blade of steel for killing men and one with a blade of silver for killing monsters. But I think that you should be able to if you want to, you know? And I do think progressive people sometimes get way too up in arms about this.
You know all white people are racist.
I'm listening.
Even if you have a
I'll take that one. I'll take that one too. I'll take that one too. When you say like all white people are racist, I don't generally think this is a good rhetorical strategy. Now, everyone is racist to an extent in the sense that we internalize certain cultural predilections that are pretty racist. But when you say that, you're kind of obfuscating. Like, here's the difference, okay? When I say everyone's a little racist, what I'm saying is all of us are at least somewhat subject to biases informed by our culture. But have you never heard a racist say that too? Remember that Hulk Hogan call from a while back? He was like, yeah, I don't want my daughter dating a black man. Is that racist? Fuck, I guess it is a little. Well, everyone's a little racist. When they say it, it's a form of justification. When racists say all white people are racist, or when racists say all people are racist, what they're saying is that, yeah, all races do stick to their own. We do have an inherent bias against other people, other, colors. Now, are these two things different? Yeah, but conceptually and rhetorically, they overlap pretty heavily unless you're talking in academia, So I can see how that would come off poorly.
a black wife or a black friend. You know all white people are racist.
I'm listening.
Even if you have a black wife or a black friend group, you're still really racist.
You know, we just kicked a guy out of the organization for having a black girlfriend, but if you can promise me he's still really racist, we'll consider letting him back in.
Okay, wait. Okay, that one was actually pretty good. No commentary. That one was pretty good.
Black people should only shop at black businesses.
Never seen a progressive say that one before. I have never seen that. I have never seen a progressive say black people should only shop at black businesses. That's a swing and a miss right there.
I guess the only thing we really disagree about is I think white people are the root of all evil.
But what did I...
There are some progressives who say that, but nobody likes them. That I think we can acknowledge two things. There are some people who talk like that. Yeah, white people are the root of all evil. Men are the root of all evil. Cis people are the root of all evil. But they're a small group. They're not institutionally relevant, and we don't like them.
I tell you, though, if we can narrow that down to a certain group of tiny-hatted white people, I think we can come to an understanding.
Technically, I don't consider Jewish people white.
Neither do I.
I don't think progressives generally have a hard Judaism is a religious group. Some Jews are white, some Jews aren't. That's true, Hyena. Some Jews are white, some Jews aren't. Hey, he's really straining there. Man, God, I hate this video. Some people consider Judaism a race. Yeah, those people are fucking stupid. There are certain ethnic groups that are heavily associated with Judaism, like Ashkenazi Jews, for example, and that would be considered like an ethnic group, not necessarily a race. But there are people of that ethnic group who are not religiously Jewish, and there are a fuck ton of people who are not Ashkenazi Jewish who are Jewish. There are tons of white Jews. Holy God! Sorry, I grew up all around Jews. There were so many Jews. In Beverly Hills, all over the place. Beverly Hills, Hollywood, I don't know. Most of the Jews there, they're Persian. They came after the Ayatollah in Iran back in the 70s, when it became, a very not Jewish friendly country. They came over here, and a lot of them settled in Beverly Hills. And I'll tell you this, it's really, really funny. So listen. I've never been to Iran. I've seen pictures. Looks like a nice place, apart from the, I don't know, theocracy part. But there's a specific type of housing over there that's associated with wealth. I don't know what the term is, like these Persian mansions, essentially. And what they are, they're usually white or beige, and they have pillars in the front, and they're like these big square houses that have that are very very big on like pillars and like the big windows and stuff. It's a specific type of housing, and the problem is before all these Persian Jews came over to Beverly Hills, there was a very specific, very kind of very anglicized like Spanish fusion housing style that was very common in Los Angeles, in which Beverly Hills is situated. Or houses were usually like these mesa kind of like stucco, yeah, Spanish colonial housing, yeah. And then the Persian Jews came in, and some of them brought money when they were exiled, and they started building these fucking Persian houses, these big pillared Persian houses, and they were so hated by the local city government. They actually banned building those houses in my lifetime. Actually, it was. This isn't super far off. They actually banned it. To anyone who tells you that Jewish people just have like the run of the place, even of Beverly Hills, no. The city council literally banned their architecture. It's really, really weird. I don't even know how they like quantify that, you know? Yeah, but they did it. So there's still those houses still exist in Beverly Hills, of course, but they were built before like 2002, you know, somewhere around there. And they don't do any new ones. Wait, why would they do that? Because the people who run Beverly Hills weren't Persian Jews. They're fucking ancient, you know, West Coast, suburbanite NIMBY assholes. Yeah. And they didn't like the ethnic, you know, vibe. Is it wrong to say the U.S. doesn't have unified culture? No. Fuck. Anyone who pretends the U.S. has a unified culture hates America. I'm laying it out here. I am more of a patriot than anyone stupid enough to make the claim that America has a unified culture. Have you driven around? Are you kidding me? Are you really going to tell me that Los Angeles, Seattle, Portland, New York City, and Chicago, St. Louis, New Orleans, these all have like the same cultures? God, no. I can't even begin. When I went over to Delaware to visit a friend a little while ago, I felt like I was in a different country. I'll tell you, the difference between Los Angeles and New Orleans is greater than the difference between, in my opinion, Los Angeles and Sydney, Australia. And that's just the big cities. Then we talk like the rural area. You want to tell me I have the same culture as like an Alabamanian? You know? No, not at all. Oh, anyway, there was a point that I was laboriously trying to get at with this video, and it's that, I don't know if you've noticed, my whole channel has been dedicated to fighting this stereotype. The idea that the left are like these hyper woke dipshits, horseshoe theory, running around to the back, you know. And when I first watched this video, I developed stage 4 pancreatic cancer, which I still have. This channel is on a bit of a timer, I'm afraid. But after writing off this video, I saw a tweet from Shoe on Head. And normally I try not to learn from Shoe on Head, because fuck me if I'm ever going to learn something from a girl. But the tweet said any lefties dismissing this video as though that's not what most people think of them needs to take a reality check, or something like that. And it recalibrated me a little bit. Now, Shoe on Head doesn't agree with this video, of course, at all. But what Shoe on Head is reminding me of, I think, aptly here, is that to a lot of people, this is life. You have the crazy far right and the crazy far left, and they're both crazy, and they both want to do great harm. in different ways, and you some sort of center-leaning institutionalist approach is the appropriate response. Now, of course, this video is right-leaning, not center-leaning, because the racist adopts positions that racists actually hold. I have racists on my stream all the time. They believe all those things. Of course, you can't. Oh, yeah, racists obviously believe in separating the race. Well, yeah, of course. That's what they believe in. But this woke person is a caricature of a progressive. And they had to bend this person's beliefs quite a bit to make the jokes that they tried to make in this video. So this video is right-leaning because it's doing the exact same thing that every Nazi I've ever debated has tried to do, which is to try and frame me as the equal and opposite of them, instead of what we actually are, as me taking a sensible and perhaps at time institutionally unconventional approach to achieving, human progress and decency, whereas they legitimately want to genocide a decent portion of the world. There is no equivocacy to be drawn here. Radicalism is not inherently comparable to other forms of radicalism. The radical can be as diametrically opposed to another radical as they ever are from the center. And I am. And so are most neo-Nazis with regards to me in reference. This video, the purpose it serves isn't to challenge the ideas of racists, it's to smear the left. So fuck this video. Hopefully it's the last I have to see of these two. Their little skit got quite a bit of attention from a relatively small channel, but I doubt it. In the meantime, though, I think it's important we all remember that, unfortunately, as much as, reflecting on this fact may make us want to fucking kill ourselves, this is what a lot of people see the world as, and we do want to avoid being this guy. And what can we do to prevent that? Well, I would strongly suggest avoiding nuanced academic terminology and arguments that can't be well elaborated upon in a quick argument or in a tweet. So saying stuff like, remember the earlier shit we talked about? Saying stuff like, hard work is white culture? Cut that the fuck out, okay? If you want to write your fucking baccalaureate thesis on the association between the Protestant work ethic and the behavior of different ethnic groups, you're free to. But when it comes to actually advocating for racial equality, you need to chill the fuck out, okay? Likewise, I love you. I love you all so much. With the cultural appropriation stuff, okay, we really sold that one too hard. The way we treated cultural appropriation reminds me of the way we treated, manspreading. Remember manspreading? That was an actual thing that happened back in 2015. People actually spent time, talking about the injustice of men. Now, mind you, it is true, I'm pretty sure, that generally speaking, men will be a little bit more selfish when it comes to taking space in public transit. Is this really what we need to be bringing our attention to? Are we willing to die on that hill? Because holy fuck, if I wasn't already a feminist by 2015, seeing people unironically, it was not just a joke, by the way. It wasn't just a pop joke thing. There were large figures and a lot of discourse legitimately backing the conversation on manspreading. It was not just two people said it on Tumblr and then all the reactionaries went crazy. It was a real goddamn discourse. And it hurt, okay? It hurt me. It hurt me right here, okay? So when it comes to stuff like that, when it comes to progressivism, you want to focus on strong, simple points that can be backed up with data that do not victimize or blame any particular group of people. You don't want to blame white people because, again, individual white people don't experience oppression and their privilege in the same way an aggregate group would. The existence of white privilege as an aggregate doesn't mean an individual white person is going to be able to fully understand the millions of tiny ways in which their skin color has affected their life. And likewise, the same goes around to black folk. If a black person tells you they don't feel oppressed, okay, that could very well be true, even if they're probably grifting for fucking grifter bucks, okay? You don't have to, don't let them bait you into making arguments on their lived experiences. Just say, okay, I recognize maybe you don't feel that way, but the data stands. This data is clear. We should probably do something about it because not every black person agrees with you. Don't focus on blaming people. Don't focus on victimizing people. Don't assign responsibility. Simple points, simple data, and with that, we come across much more reasonable. Now, obviously, the kinds of people who would make a video like this would never paint us charitably no matter what, but I think it's important to remember what we're up against, okay? This is the framing. This is the disinfo that defines our opposition. So yeah, just be careful with that stuff. It's something I struggle with sometimes too. So we have to dumb down everything. Come on. Nope. Wait. First of all, any public policy discourse will be dumbed down by definition because there's always a greater level of complexity. Yes. Unless you're literally writing academic theses on something and you want to argue with somebody by writing papers that each take 19 months to write and then sending them back and forth until you both die. Yes, you have to dumb things down a little bit. When it comes to discourse like this, very often you can make things simpler without meaningfully reducing the nuance of an issue. I can spend 5 minutes talking about the ways in which black people are oppressed in this country, or I could spend 5 days nonstop, 120 hours. And the 5-minute argument will be infinitely better at changing minds, winning over people, and informing people who are most interested in what I have to say. If that's dumbing it down, then the solution to that is to encourage people to educate themselves more once they agree with the basic premise. Anyway.